everyone, welcome back for another adventure.
Welcome back.
Today we are in Fairfield, Utah, and we are going to be exploring Camp Floyd. Camp Floyd was established in 1858 by the U.S. Army to suppress a supposed Mormon rebellion against the government, and they were here for only 3 years before they got called back east once the Civil War started. So let's go check out the area and see what remains.
Let's see.
Also in the area is the Fairfield Schoolhouse, which you see here. It was constructed in 1898. You can see there at the top, there's a little plaque with the date. I was hearing something, like a little noise coming from somewhere in the building a minute ago. Nick didn't hear it. I'm trying to decide if it's like birds that I was hearing, if they like built a nest in there or something. If you look up there, you can see.
Where that bell is, though.
Yeah, do you hear it? It's like a squeak. Yeah, there's mesh over that bell.
Over that window for the bell.
Wait, do you hear it? And as we get to the porch here, I'm still hearing like a squeaking noise somewhere. Are you still not hearing that?
There's something up there.
Where? Oh my gosh, I just fell.
I heard something up there. It sounded like scratching.
Yeah.
Like a scratching wood noise.
Or almost like something scratching on a window, but like there's no branch.
Sounded like it was right here.
It must be like an insect or something.
There's one right there, but I don't think that would make that noise.
No, that's just a firebug. Oh no, is that mouse droppings? Yeah, I think there's mice here. It is so quiet that I don't think the camera's gonna pick it up. But it's like squeaking, and I'm not kidding you, I think it's mice.
It could be.
Like up under the roof boards and stuff, like, or up under the bricks up there. Because there's like mouse droppings like all over the windowsills and stuff, and it sounds kind of like mice squeaking. Do you hear that? That's mice, huh?
I think so.
Oh my gosh. We were doing some research online, and Utah Ghost Hunters has done some paranormal investigations here at this schoolhouse, and they have caught orbs in the corners of the room, as well as orbs floating above the schoolhouse roof. And they've also heard voices of spirits coming through on their recording devices, or EVPs. I actually have been inside this schoolhouse before when I was a teenager. We came here for one of my friend's birthdays, and we did like a paranormal investigation type of a thing. And I actually remember feeling very uneasy while we were inside, and I actually left and went out to just like the front yard. Towards the edge of the sidewalk with a couple other friends who also felt uneasy in there. So that's pretty crazy and kind of exciting. Now, we cannot get inside today, but we are just wandering around the property right now. Nick is over here. He is using his heat and cold sensing, what is it called?
Remote imaging camera.
Remote?
Thermal imaging
Oh,
camera.
his thermal imaging camera is what it's called. And we're gonna see if we can pick up anything funky around here. Now, with EVPs, or electronic voice phenomenon, you cannot hear the voice of the spirit coming through when you are just standing here. That's why it's electronic, right? So it has to come through your electronic device, and you'll hear it when you play it back. So I'm just gonna kind of wander around here, and I'm not gonna talk, and I'm just gonna see if anything comes through when we play this back later. What do you think this building is? Storage for the school or something?
Maybe.
It's just right here next to the school. Almost looks like some kind of like a barn or garage. What if we knock? How creepy would that be if something like wiggled the handle or knocked back or answered?
There's some fireworks going off in the background that aren't knocking.
Yes, that is just fireworks. Any luck on the thermal imaging detector?
No, I didn't see anything.
Darn it. There's also this nice area to have a picnic. Little playground over here. And it looks like some sort of a stage of sorts. I imagine they periodically will do special events here. So I'm guessing it's probably for something like that. I just heard something like cruising over my head and it sounded like it crashed. Oh, there it is, that bird. It just like crashed into that birdhouse like really hard. Oh my goodness. There is a sign here that says that the living conditions at Camp Floyd were hard, and one soldier described it, and this is what he said. Camp Floyd is one of the most miserable, disagreeable, and uninteresting places that ever disgraced the earth. It is built upon a dry plain, entirely destitute of grass, or indeed any vegetation except sage, that flourishes where nothing else will grow. There is no water here, except a little dirty stream that runs near the west end of the camp, scarcely large enough to drown a mouse. As we were sitting here looking at this monument, a gentleman that works here or volunteers here, I'm not sure, came over and told us a fun fact that I never would have noticed. If you look down here on the bottom rock, you can see petroglyphs. Isn't that crazy? There's some over here. And there's also some over on this other side. Now, he said that the petroglyphs were taken from 5 Mile Pass. And that is definitely illegal to do today. But back in 1939, when this monument was created, that was a totally legal thing to do.
And look ahead.
Yeah.
There's like this. Almost looks like DNA.
Yeah.
There's a
Arrow type thing.
This is some sort of creature. Can't tell what that is. There's some sort of pattern in here, but it's hard to tell what that is.
Yeah. That was very, very nice of that gentleman to come over and tell us that, because I would have missed it otherwise. And even if we saw it, we wouldn't have known.
This looks like it was a person, but then this broke off.
Yeah.
Right here. And there's this.
We wouldn't have even known if we happened to see this. We wouldn't have known that, like, where it came from or anything like that. And this looks like somebody just carved stuff in here.
Well,
but
that's more modern, but
yeah.
This I think is original.
Wow. I asked the gentleman who told us about the petroglyphs on the monument what these are, because I was curious. And he said they have nothing to do with Camp Floyd. They're basically just giant Lincoln logs for kids. And then we also asked him about this over here, and he said that they will use it for like cooking demonstrations. I think he said it's a mud oven that they have in there. So yeah. We are wandering down to the end of the street here because there's a little baby horse. A colt. Hi, baby. You're so little. He's looking at us. There's also some chickens back there. And there's a cow on the other side. Camp Floyd Museum. It's $3 a person or $10 a family. Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. We weren't allowed to take any video inside the museum, but they did allow us to take photos. So we will go ahead and start inserting those here. They are not the greatest quality just because of the lighting. It was really hard to avoid the glare from the glass. But it's just a very small little building. It is the original commissary that they have restored, and it is the only original Camp Floyd building. They do have the stagecoach in here that was in operation during when Camp Floyd was set up, but it wasn't a Camp Floyd building, if that makes sense. And they had some interesting like artifacts from Camp Floyd in there. Some like dominoes and dice that they played, games, some like dishes that they ate off of, old like bullet shells and like a cannon. What else did they have in there?
Old rifles.
Some old rifles. So something I found interesting was there were keeping signs in the museum saying things like because they had a lot of downtime, they took to heavy drinking, or because they had a lot of downtime, the dominoes and games were like a welcome surprise. I was kind of like, oh, okay, so they had a lot of downtime because the supposed like rumored rebellion of the Mormons wasn't actually a thing. So I guess that's probably why there was nothing for them to do, really, right?
Yeah, there was some angry politicians that went back to Washington because Brigham Young wasn't really listening to them. He was doing his own thing and wasn't taking orders from them. So then those angry politicians went back to Washington and said that there was a rebellion, and then so Washington had brought a third of its army at the time to Utah to squash this rebellion, and then they found out it was all just a hoax.
There's another birdhouse up in the top of this tree. I'm guessing it's a birdhouse. Is that a birdhouse?
Yes.
I mean, the bird was using the other one, so.
Yeah.
So what I gathered was that the reason they stayed for the 3 years was because once they found out that there wasn't an actual rebellion, they were still ordered to stay and just observe the Mormons.
Yeah. To make sure they weren't a threat.
To make sure they weren't a threat. And I imagine that there wasn't a whole lot for them to do.
Yeah.
This building here is the commissary. This is where they kept their foodstuffs, the army. And this is the only remaining original building from Camp Floyd. Here is the Stagecoach Inn. This was used for overnight stays for the Pony Express, as well as people traveling via wagon on the stage line. Built in 1858 by John Carson as a family home and inn, used as a Pony Express and overland stage stop during the 1860s. Built in 1858 by Mormon pioneer John Carson, the Stagecoach Inn was built next to Camp Floyd Military Camp. It served as a hotel and a rest stop on the Overland Trail. Passengers and mail were delivered by horse-drawn carriages on a route starting in St. Louis, Missouri, and ending in San Francisco, California. And it took between 22 and 25 days to make the trip. And we are also not allowed to film in here. We can take pictures, so we will insert a couple of those here. And we have just exited out onto the balcony here. And it looks like now we should go this way. There's another door here. This is very, like, you have to be careful not to hit your head here if you're tall like me. We were not allowed to film inside the Stagecoach Inn, but we were allowed to take photos, so we're going to insert some pictures here. They had some sketchy stairs in there that were like super steep and
awkward and slanted.
Yeah, I told you they felt like not straight. There was also a place on the floor that almost looked like there's a basement or something. I tried to move the rug with my foot and it is like glued or stapled down or something, which makes us feel even more like there actually is a basement or something there. It is a little bit forward in the future, and I have confirmed that it is a root cellar. There were also some bullet holes that were going through the walls, and the rumor is, the rumor by mouth was that somebody was cleaning his shotgun and it went off and shot through the walls. And you can actually see here that the hole lines up like right in front of the bed. And the rumor is that the person that was staying in that room had just laid down to go to sleep when the bullet came through. And oh my gosh, if you look at this, it's like if he had been sitting up in bed, it probably would have hit him. John Carson was pretty restrictive on what activities took place at the inn, and so no gambling or drinking was allowed. But activities that were allowed included square dancing, listening to music, reading, and playing games such as checkers. And here is a picture of the room that I guess was like the recreation or like activity room. The bathroom was also quite interesting. They have a toilet chair. It's like a chair with a toilet in it, and it has a little like chamber pot that you can take out to dump. And there's like a little sink in there where you probably wash your hands and your face. And guests were expected to bathe in the stream if it was a nice day. We guess this is the stream. Yeah, you can see a little bit of water all the way back over there. I don't know if it was always this covered with like plants, vegetation, but that soldier was not kidding when he said that it was like a horrible stream. And I don't know how the Stagecoach Inn expected people to bathe in this. There's like nothing to bathe in. There's where you take a bath. This little, I don't know what do you even call it? I wouldn't even call this a stream. Here's the other side. All right, we have driven just a little bit across the street here over to the Fairfield Cemetery, and the soldiers who passed away while at Camp Floyd are buried here. And look at that, there are some
dust devils.
Pretty big dust devils out there.
Yeah.
Those are tall.
Seems to be quite a few of those out here.
Yeah, but I don't know if we've seen any that tall before.
That one's pretty powerful, that
wow.
one on the right.
Yeah. Seems like it's getting more powerful too.
Yeah.
Okay, this is kind of interesting. So it says Fairfield was established by the 5 Carson brothers, one of those being William H. And then this monument that we're looking at was the Eagle Scout project of Cameron Carson, who is the great-great-great-grandson of William H. Carson. And it says, the quote, "The purpose of this project is to recognize our loved ones, our forefathers, and those brave pioneers buried here that may or may not have readable headstones or even headstones at all. Names shown here are listed from the very first individual buried here up to the year 1950, according to Fairfield's records." No, it's... something is whistling. That's not the flag. Do you hear the whistle?
Yeah.
Something is whistling. Do you hear that?
The dinging noise, I think, is the flag.
I hear the dinging too from the flagpole. I hear that. But I also hear like a whistling. There's nobody here.
Like
Yeah.
something like this.
Like that.
Yeah. I just heard it.
It's still happening. What the heck? What the heck? Let's go find out. I'm sorry, I'm trying to walk quiet, but this grass is so crunchy. Is it a bird?
Might be a bird or like a person.
I don't know if the camera's picking that up. I mean, there are like houses across the street. We just came from over there. That was where we went to the museum. I keep hearing it. But it seems too close to be coming from all the way over there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's the flagpole. And you can hear the clanking from that. But the whistling we were hearing kind of seemed like it was coming from like just the brush area in here. I don't hear it anymore. I don't know what that was. And then the cemetery, the headstones are all back here. And you can see that dust devil in the background again too. And right here, oh, there's like several of them. All the Carsons. We've heard that name a lot today. This is sad. This one's like fell out of its base, so it's just leaning. This is probably one as well. It's just really just a rock at this point, or maybe it always was. Elvira, we've read that name today somewhere. It says wife of John Carson. I think that that's the people who own Stagecoach Inn.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Probably.
And then you've got John Carson right here. Now, I'm not positive if these are actually their graves or if I'm thinking of somebody else. We've learned a lot of information today and having a hard time keeping track of all of it. You've got a lot of that are just like rock place markers. What a nice Eagle Scout project that was to put that monument that lists everybody's names so that all of these markers that don't have names or dates or anything are at least recognized over there. I haven't heard the whistling again.
Me neither.
I can hear another bird now. Maybe that's the bird that made the whistling noise and he switched noises.
I don't know, it didn't really sound like that though.
No, it didn't.
It sounded more human-like.
It really did. These ones are broken off. Very old headstones, a lot of these. This gated area. Looks like there's a couple little gates over there that you can enter through. Here's a little gate you can go in through. Back here along the back of the cemetery, the headstone and rock markers are no more. And I wonder if there are people buried there that just didn't get a marker, or if the cemetery just stopped being filled up at that point.
Looks like there might have been some new ones back on the left though.
So maybe they're still... You didn't notice dates?
I didn't look too closely, but they look pretty new.
Yeah, I guess some of them in here do look newer. Wonder if they're still using it. Probably. I mean, there is still a town here with people living in it. All right, we just found a headstone that is from 2020. So we have confirmed that new burials are still happening. This video is taking place in 2024. All right. Nick is getting attacked by a fly. We're gonna wrap things up here. It has been a really fun day. It's extremely hot though. We are so tired. I learned a lot of stuff.
Me too.
I thought that was very informative and cool.
We came here not knowing anything about this place, and now we know quite a bit.
Yeah, so very fun. And it was like $3 a person to get into the museum and Stagecoach Inn. And honestly, even if you don't want to go in, just wandering around like all these areas outside is also very cool.
Yeah.
The haunted side of things that we kind of barely dived into today, we didn't really pick anything up except when we first got to the Fairfield Cemetery and we were looking at that monument, we were not even thinking anything about the haunted side of anything, and we heard that whistling, and it felt very weird to me.
Definitely a human noise, so it's either a person at their house that
was very loud.
Whistled very loud.
Carried with the wind, maybe?
Or something paranormal.
Yeah, it kind of weird, strange to me. But anyway, this was a great day, and thank you guys so much for joining us for another adventure
in this wondrous weird world.
Kind of listening for that whistling again one last time before we go, but it hasn't happened again. I'll be interested to see if it could pick up on camera the sound, and if it could, let us know what you guys think. Do you think it was a bird? We don't really. Do you think it was coming from those houses way over there across the street? I mean, seems pretty far. Otherwise, it had to be paranormal. Pretty cool. Let us know what you guys think. It is future Crystal and Nick here, and as you just saw, we caught some whistling on camera when we were at the Fairfield Cemetery. When we got home and we started editing the video, we did find out that we did catch it on camera, so it does come through, which is awesome. I do apologize that I was like talking a lot during the whistling, but
it's just the raw reaction from being confused and surprised about the situation.
Yeah, so just I was like, oh my gosh, like, do you hear that? And so I do apologize, but if you kind of like listen in the background of me talking, you will hear the whistling. Turn the volume up if you need to. But it's pretty cool because we started doing some reading online and found an article that actually says that people have reported hearing strange noises there, such as like footsteps and whistling when nobody else is around.
Yeah, and we didn't know that before, so it just kind of confirms what we were experiencing.
Yeah, we had no idea, so it was very validating and very exciting for us, and I'm so glad we caught it on camera.
Me too.
And yeah, but still let us know what you guys think about it all, and I guess that's it. We just want to come here and give a little update. I will see if I can link the article that I read in the description box. I think it was like onlyinyourstate.com or something like that. And thank you guys for joining us for another adventure
in this wondrous weird world.